When we feel like we need to silence ourselves because of past experiences of people have said, you can't say this, you can't say that, I say, you. They are telling you something of who you shouldn't be when really then that's dissolving you. We've always been told to be a certain way to fit in a box, but here's the thing, that's just holding you back. And they're their people's belief and projections of their own insecurities. How do you start to unmute yourself? How do you start to bring out this beast that's not projecting, but A, B, and C, true to who you are? And that's part of what this episode is about. The key steps on being able to have those moments of saying it with your chest. We are back with Say It With Your Chest. I'm your host, Tamara Meyer. This is my first solo episode with the new rebrand. I hope you guys have been loving it. And today we're talking about the permission slip you need to say it with your chest. The cost of staying silent. Now, this is going to be a really great segue for those of you who are service-based business owners who are here to not be the norm, to not play safe, who are here for big, bold things, yet there might be something holding you back. This episode is for you. Why we rebranded, and I have a big thank you to my best friend Jenna, who worked with us in the marketing. And it's such a great brand to really use it as an opportunity to really give you guys not the permission slip to have the opportunity to say it with your chest, but it's those industry leaders, professionals who are born to speak, are born to have this big authority of influence and impact. And these episodes are not only going to give you sales training, speaking training, marketing training, but it's also going to give you this beautiful element of the people that are doing great and exceptional. And the one thing that they have in common is that they have a strong opinion about something. And those of you right now who have felt this urge to talk about things that may feel like it is super scary, these are the things that you're avoiding are the things that you need to be talking about. I'm talking what is grinding your gears, what are the things, your family members may be saying, or most importantly, what are the things that you've known to be true that you've not spoken about, or more importantly, your own story that you want to say with your chest. This podcast for me, now that we've had Keys to the Queendom and moving into this beautiful amplified version of myself, is really giving me also this big permission slip to go, you know what, I'm done hiding, I'm done playing small. I'm also done feeling like, if I have an opinion about someone or something, or again, something that's happening in my life, I'm going to talk about it with absolutely no fear of judgment and absolutely no, honestly, no ifs, buts, whats, if this person can say, that's it, I don't care. Because what I've learned in the years of building a business and prior to that, fitness days, even the personal development days at the start, I was looking to those for inspiration of how to be, when really it was always within me. I actually had a really great session with my mentor this morning, and a lot of shame came up about my identities. I've got speaker Tam identity, I've got the identity of this leader, but there is airhead Tam, there's pelican Tam, there's party Tam, there's relationship Tam, there's dancer Tam, and there's all these beautiful moments of where I held those moments of Tam in this box. And I was like, no one gets to see that because it's past Tam. Well, here is my opportunity to talk about those past Tams, because honestly, all of that is still me. I haven't really changed much. I've evolved. I've become a better person. I've got multiple things I'm still working on and navigating through, yet I'm still me. So when we feel like we need to silence ourselves because of past experiences of people have said, you can't say this, you can't say that, I say, fuck you. Because to be honest, they are telling you something of who you shouldn't be when really then that's just dissolving you. That's shrinking you. And I've had to learn the hard way because my grandma did it, my father did it, people in the industry have told me to do it. We've always been told to be a certain way to fit in a box, but here's the thing, that's just holding you back. And they're the people's belief and projections of their own insecurities. So this is about how do you start to unmute yourself? How do you start to bring out this beast that's not projecting? That's a big one. That isn't to put someone down. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion, but A, B, and C, true to who you are. And that's part of what this episode is about. The key steps on being able to have those moments of saying it with your chest. What I want to do as well is kind of reflect on where in your life have you dimmed your light? Because the cost of staying small, again, is coming back to, well, why are you choosing to play small? What's the benefit of it? Some of the things I've noticed that has come up for me recently was my people-pleasing tendencies. And that has been a big recent theme of mine, that in order for me to feel safe, to feel loved, to be seen, I was people-pleasing in parts of my businesses, relationships, circles of friends. And I've learnt, and still am learning, that that is me staying small and not being true to who I am. And when I used to, and still have had moments of people-pleasing, that has kept me small, because I haven't been, one, feeling strong enough to at least have a voice, have an opinion, share my truth, be able to express how I'm feeling. And this is powerful stuff, because if this starts to happen in your personal life, you can imagine how that's going to happen in your business, in your relationships, how you are a speaker, how you are maybe a business owner who wants to start a podcast. So it's having that conversation first is, what's the cost of playing small? Why are you dimming your life? Where in your parts of your life have you done this? I always like to share moments of time. A lot of the times for me, it was in my dance days. We were always obviously performing and, always putting ourselves out there. And I can't explain more so the examples of when it happened, but I could always feel when I was in an environment where I was performing on stage, I was always holding myself back, because I was afraid of who I was and how this voice could become, and this person could really shake things up in the entertainment world, in the business world. And I had to have a really big conversation with myself to reflect on that person and go, that was always because you were too afraid to not be liked. And so I realized, now that we're using this beautiful element of expressing ourselves and using our voice, that a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people in your circle, your relationships, your business, your networks, they're not going to like you, because you're out now owning yourself. You're staying true to who you are, but you're also expressing rather than shrinking. So I want you to have these moments of, where in life have you played small because you wanted to fit the mold, you wanted to be liked, it was safer to be liked, and where can we start to now be comfortable not being liked? And I want you to really step into that. The second part of, owning our voice and not being afraid to be who we are is also being aware of how this may mean you need to set some boundaries. Set some boundaries for yourself, for your relationships, for your friendships, for your business, for your clients. Myself and Jordan, we've been really having these deep conversations around, because we're growing so much now, that we need to start setting boundaries. And by setting boundaries, guess what? We need to talk about it. We need to express it. We need to use our voice, because if we keep justifying, I have a great quote about this, and it's, what you accept is what you teach. I'm going to say it again. What you accept is what you teach. And I've had to, again, take a big moment of, if I say something, they may not like it, but then I'm choosing to play small, and I'm choosing to shrink myself. And then I start justifying myself. So when we start to step into owning, this identity of being able to say and express and use our voice, that means setting boundaries and expressing that. The third bit of this incredible episode is also about, the more you speak and be who you are, the more you're actually attracting aligned clients, and clients that get you, that understand you, that are on that higher caliber. And that also means in sales, that's also on social media, it's also when you speak on stage, being able to say it with your chest and be who you are, being able to self-express and amplifying it. Fuck, it's delicious. You attract like-minded people. I was saying to Jordan over when we're staying at the Intercontinental, we had a moment where we were like, fuck, look, I'm so grateful for the clients we have. And I was like, I wonder what's changed. And I think it was purely just like we've owned who we are. We don't hide anything anymore. We don't justify. We're working on our people pleasing. We're setting better boundaries. We're also communicating effectively. And that's the fourth part of, being able to, own who you are in your voice and, focusing on saying it with your chest. You become clear. You become consistent. You become concise. You're better at communicating because there's nothing about fluffing about and beating around the bush. It's like, no, you just have this like, hey, I'm going to say something. I want to say it from a place of love and transparency. I would love to, just hit my mic. I would love to hear, how you feel about that. And it becomes such a better way of communication rather than avoiding hurting someone. I'm actually quite grateful. I have great friendships that communicate so beautifully and clear and concise because I used to be so fucking scared of losing friends and losing people. It's probably one of my biggest fear because abandonment was such a big part of my life. So the fourth part of, being able to own who you are, your voice and speaking, with your say it with your chest moment is having the ability to be clear, concise, and an effective leader that communicates. So to kind of wrap it up on how to implement this, how to have those say it with your chest moments, I have 3 valuable tips that I'm going to leave with you to ask yourself this. Number 1, get clear. What do you actually believe in? And what are you choosing to hide that you can now bring to life? Because now you're done hiding. You're done staying silent. You're done playing small queen and king. The second thing is get honest. Where in your life have you muted yourself? Where is this showing up in your sales calls, your client calls, how you show up on your social media, posting, how you pitch, how you lead? Have those honest conversations. And last but not least, number 3, get loud. Say it, pitch it, be bold with it. Don't hold back. Don't for the life of me become Switzerland. Be you. Have a point of view. Don't be afraid. I recently put a video up of me on my training and it was a spelling error. I couldn't for the life of me pronounce vehicle. And I literally was like, I'm going to put this up. And then I was like, you know what? I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you feel really uncomfortable when you see people with spelling errors? Do you judge people? Yes or no? I was quite surprised. A lot of people judge. And I was like, it's fine. And this beautiful Instagram, I think it was a guy actually, reached out. He goes, I'm so sorry that I judge people for spelling errors. And he said, but I'm autistic and I hate making mistakes. And I wrote back to him. I'm like, hey, legend, please do not apologize for having an opinion. Do you see the world we live in? And I think that's where if we want to be bold and we want to be loud and we want to have these opinions, right, be okay for others to do the same, right? Be okay that if you're going to start being expressive and bold and loud and, using your voice and saying it with your chest that you're going to make some people get a bit triggered, but you have to be okay with it. And you have to look within yourself and be okay with other people's stuff that they put out there. Sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, oh, what the fuck's this person doing? And then I go, you know what? Well done. Well done. Actually, that's fucking brave. Or even, you know what? That's ballsy. I would never do that. But you know what? That person has. So that's a really incredible piece to that. And basically just to wrap this episode, right? What you express, give yourself full permission, but also hit my mic again, but give others to do the same. And last but not least, I want to leave with this last mic drop moment, and that is this. They told you to be consistent. What they didn't tell you is to be clear. Say it with your chest, not for the likes, not for the validation, but because you're being true to who you are and your brand. This is Say It With Your Chest with Tamara Meyer. I'm your host. For more episodes coming your way, I hope you've loved it, and this big, bold direction is only going to bring more incredible, bigger, delicious guests and more juicier topics as well. Mwah. I remember the first time I spoke on stage. My heart was racing, palms sweaty, voice was shaking. I was terrified. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because deep down I was afraid of being seen. was afraid of my own power. But here's the truth no one tells you. Speaking isn't about perfection. It's about connection. When you step onto stage, whether it's a room of 10 or 10,000, people aren't just listening to your word. They're feeling your energy. They're watching to see, does this person believe in what they're saying? Does this person believe in themselves? The power to command a room comes from owning your story, not performing a script. That's what amplifies your voice, and that's what creates impact. I spent years shrinking myself, dimming my light, thinking I had to sound like everyone else to be taken seriously. The moment I let go of the performance and I chose to lead with my truth, my voice changed, my business changed, my life changed, and that's what I want for you. Because when you learn to speak with authority, to lead with conviction, to show up as the fullest, boldest version of you, you don't just inform, you transform. Own your message and create the kind of presence that moves people into action, because your voice is your greatest asset. It's time to use it. So if you're ready to stop shrinking, if you're ready to step into the leader you were born to be, join me at Show Up and Speak Live. The mic is waiting, the world is waiting, and so am I.